Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm so glad to be here with you.
I'm so glad to have you back. I love our chats together. I love
Me
how we
too.
can get super techie and geek out.
Yes,
I've been looking forward to this all week. And there's so much to talk about.
there is. There is. You want to dive right in?
Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's talk a little bit about the new stablecoin legislation that just got introduced. Senator Loomis and Senator Gillibrand, bipartisan bill. They actually they introduced a bill a while back about regulatory framework for cryptocurrency assets. So this is their second stab, a little bit different stablecoin legislation. um we need this to have clarity for major institutions to start accepting stable coins. So a stable coin is pegged to the dollar 1 to 1. Okay, so no more fractional reserve banking
So
for every. Go ahead.
I have a question about that, and sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
this is great.
stable coins being pegged to the dollar, is there any possibility of turmoil with that since the dollar is being so devalued?
Yeah, so I've been trying to wrap my head around this for years, right? Because sometimes I think our monetary policy has obviously expanded, right?
It's kind of a ghost in the wind, whatever they want to do with it.
Right?
Oh, let's print more money.
Right? So, how about cryptocurrency projects like the United States digital coin? And now XRP Ledger is introducing their version of a stable coin that is, it is compliant under
Mhm.
the United States law. So if I look at these two stable coins being backed 1 to 1, well, in a way, I think it could actually stabilize the dollar, giving it purpose and maybe stabilizing that value. We'll see how this plays out. I think eventually, Mary, we're going to have to do a reset. Maybe they'll revalue the dollar back to gold like it used to be, and that it should have always been.
Right.
So I do see with this expansion that, the blockchain can play a role to stabilize our economy. It's not going to get stabilized overnight, though. Literally, stable coins make up 1% of all of the money
Right now.
right now. Right.
And being backed 1 to 1 by the dollar, that means that those companies that are producing the stable coins or the governments that are producing the stable coins have a store of dollars somewhere in a safe for each one of the stable coins that they produce. Right?
In theory, correct. And the nice thing about USDC and even like XRP's stablecoin, everything is transparent, right? On the blockchain for all to see. So I think they could use this as a bridge to rebuild the trust back into our economy. Because let's face it, every week we go to the grocery store, we need more money. We need more dollars.
Yeah.
So people are going to lose their trust when they
Mhm.
really start to struggle paying for basic things.
Right.
So I'm seeing this as a way to build trust. And you and I are in this. So we see this happening. But let's face it, most of the population has no idea that this is even going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I see it as a good thing. I'm a little concerned about Tether. Tether hasn't always been transparent. They say they've been audited. They say that, they're not just backed out of fully reserve, they're backed by dollars and other commodities and assets. So I kind of see us transitioning into a full reserve banking system, moving away from our current fractional reserve banking system. We put $100 into the bank, they lend out 97.
Right.
This is very different. And I don't know, what's going to happen with Tether. And it's concerning because Tether is the largest stable coin.
Mhm. Right.
they hold a large amount of our treasury debt. So this is very complicated. I hope that Tether can work something out and just be adopted, but we'll wait and see what happens.
That's really interesting. I had never heard that before. They hold a large amount of our treasury debt.
Yeah, they're one of the
Wow.
top 20. I know. So,
Wow.
right.
And the
So
government isn't interested in cryptocurrency, right?
no, I know. I mean, this is, and I think like the government is very interested in cryptocurrency, but they're not interested in American citizens building their wealth, right? Because like when you listen
Exactly.
to,
Well, they never
yeah,
have.
exactly. I mean, all of this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Even like I don't know who owns CoinDesk, but it's obviously probably like a Bitcoin maxi or someone like that, because CoinDesk came out with an article after Ripple announced that they're doing a stable coin on the XRP ledger, that's fully compliant, fully transparent. And CoinDesk article was like, why would Ripple make a stable coin and make XRP useless? It was such a bad article that Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, had to come out and say this is an embarrassment to all the people who are in cryptocurrency. Because again, it's like they want you to sell your XRP, and the more FUD that's around the coin, the more bullish I am on XRP. Like,
Right? Exactly.
yeah, it's like, why would Ripple spend hundreds of millions of dollars in a lawsuit, right? Saying that, XRP is the heartbeat of the RippleNet software system that they built if the value of XRP is going to zero, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
So you have some folks saying, hey, XRP could be next for a spot ETF. And then you have major news, media like CoinDesk saying XRP is going to zero. Which one is it?
Right? You have to believe the actions and not the words. There's so
Exactly.
many people out there writing articles that are just spreading that FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That, I used to, scroll through all those articles and I found that it made me a little anxious. And then I realized that's what they're wanting to produce. That's the
Exactly.
goal of all of these articles, is to make people anxious and instill fear. So I don't listen to any of them anymore. I don't read them. I don't scroll through them. It's just pointless.
Absolutely. And whenever I see anything, I write it down and I go to the company's website, right? So we can't trust, we need to verify, right? Just like
Exactly.
the blockchain does, but we need to do that with our news. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. So it's like, but to get back to the XRP ledger, I did a deep dive this week on a lot of the things that are being built on this ecosystem, and I'm seeing us moving towards maturity, right?
Right.
So David Schwartz, he's the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of Ripple, and he actually tweeted out this week. He's like, I'm delighted to see the proposal for the lending and borrowing platform on the XRP ledger get approved, right?
Right.
So again, it's just when I look at XRP and I look at, they are definitely the one project that has been 100% scrutinized by the United States government.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
theory, they should be like the most compliant token, right? And they've always been transparent, you know?
Yeah.
And they just met, so the the Ripple just applied to the SEC, who's suing Ripple for about $2 billion in damages for selling XRP as an unregistered security to institutions and banks. So the SEC wants their cut. So Ripple filed their paperwork yesterday, and I think the SEC has until May 7th to respond. So this lawsuit will come to an end. Not only do we have the
Yes.
lending and borrowing platform, we have the launch of the automated market maker on the XRP ledger as well. That's going to allow banks and institutions to do trading with like Forex, right? So if I'm holding the euro and I want to trade it for the United States dollar, I don't need to go through this complicated process. I can just use the XRP ledger for automatic swaps and settlements at a fraction of the cost.
Brilliant.
I know. It's so hard not to be so excited about this project, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they were building this all out, they were really smart to have that bridge to Ethereum. So it's like Ethereum virtual machine, otherwise known as EVM. But you know, you can be a developer and you can actually use like the XRP ecosystem, but build it on Ethereum as well as the XRP ledger. So the more blockchains, the better it is, the more liquidity, the more money comes into a project.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Cool. And that kind of is where Chainlink comes in as well. For those coins or projects that don't have the multiple blockchains that they operate on, Chainlink is the coin that will come in and allow that movement of coins from one blockchain to the other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I look at Chainlink and I think of Chainlink this way. Chainlink is building the internet of smart contracts.
Yes.
Without Chainlink, it's really difficult to bridge or to connect traditional finance to decentralized finance. And Chainlink is acting as a bridge to bring them together. Okay. So everything eventually is going to be done utilizing smart contracts. And the reason why I know this is because everything is moving to the blockchain, right?
Right. Everything.
Everything is moving to the blockchain. I mean, sometimes my mind gets blown out of the amount of transfer of wealth that's going to happen over like the next course of this year. You know,
Right.
I see things like, you know, back in the bear market, there was an announcement that Chainlink had partnered with Swift, which is our international trading platform that the United States, you know, we have the world reserve currency. So we trade with over 12,000 countries, institutions. I mean, it's the thing that we sanction other countries when they don't do what we want them to do, right? It's a big freaking deal. So Chainlink is going to be the oracle for Swift to interoperate with all of these different blockchains. And during the bear market, Chainlink's price didn't even move on this announcement. But I'm seeing Chainlink's ecosystem also mature because they launched their CCIP protocol, which is cross-chain interoperability platform. And basically what it's going to do, it allows Swift to communicate with these blockchains to say, this is legit. This, you know, bank A wants to pay bank B. The CCIP protocol interprets that smart contract in a way that the Swift system can understand. And that's all done autonomously without any human intervention.
Yeah.
And here's the cool thing, Mary. Every time you use the CCIP protocol, there's a fee involved, and that fee is with Link. So this is big news. I see Chainlink being like probably one of the top 5 cryptocurrencies, if not number 3. You know, we don't know for sure, but I see it being in the top 5 because there's competitors. Like I love the Flare network Flare is an oracle, this real-time data. This is what all of these companies are doing. They'll all be adopted on some level, but Chainlink is so far ahead. They have that first mover advantage, and they're already partnered with thousands and thousands of companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that,
Chainlink is on my list of coins to beef up on in the next dip, which I'm expecting to happen, maybe starting in a few days on up until the end of April, maybe into May. So we'll see. I've got the money set aside to just dip in and buy some Chainlink.
yeah, yeah. And I've been dollar cost averaging because I never know when the bottom is. Like, we had so much news. The market is really, really volatile. We have Grayscale selling, they're still selling their Bitcoin trust. The threat of war, the markets don't like that. So it's causing all of this volatility. And we also have had so much hype leading up to the halving of Bitcoin, which
Right.
should take place on the 19th, which is tomorrow. So we could see another dip after the halving.
Yeah.
We call it buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So, so we'll
And
see.
that's typically been the pattern, hasn't it? After the halving, there's a dip,
Yep.
and then the bulls just go straight up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if history repeats, Bitcoin usually doubles 6 months after the halving. So
Right.
no matter what that price of Bitcoin is at the halving, we'll be tracking it. Let's see if we're right. I'm feeling super bullish. Hong Kong just approved a spot Bitcoin ETF as well as an
Right.
Ethereum ETF. That's going to launch next week. And the SEC has until sometime in May to reject or accept America's spot Ethereum ETF. So we'll
Okay.
see how this goes. There's been so much FUD around Ethereum as well. Is it a security? Is it a commodity? But Larry Fink from BlackRock, he came out and made a public announcement, and he was like, it doesn't matter if Ethereum is a security or a commodity. We package the asset and it can be a security or a commodity in an
Absolutely.
ETF.
Right. Right.
So, it doesn't matter. And again, if any of these tokens are securities, they just have to pay more money for all the legislation that's around the securities market, right? Commodities, I think, is a little bit less. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Super cool. Super cool. So I think about, over the course of the next 9 months to a year, I really see our treasury market becoming more and more tokenized. I think that's going to be the biggest narrative in the next wave of the bull run, tokenization of real world assets.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm looking at Stellar. I'm looking at Ondo Finance. I've been buying Ondo Finance on this dip. It was like over
Right.
$1 and it went all the way back down into like 68-cent range or something. So I just keep buying. Because I don't want fear of missing out. I might have fear of missing out. I think Ondo is, has a partnership with BlackRock. Whether we like this or not, there's nothing we can do about it. This is where we're going, at least for now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I've been dollar cost averaging definitely the dip. And if we go in another dip after the halving, I'll be dollar cost averaging into that. And then I'm probably just gonna wait and start focusing on profits.
Right. Right. So with everything being tokenized, it kind of brings up in my mind the thought of, I think about real estate and real estate being tokenized and the real estate contracts, mortgages being tokenized. I mean, we have a huge, huge population of people out there who are in the real estate business, either selling real estate or selling mortgages. And I think about how many of them are aware of what's going on. How many of them are aware that, their livelihood is now going to take a sharp left turn and totally change, and will they be prepared for it?
Right. So I don't think most realtors are prepared for what's coming. We do have a
Yeah.
realtor in our private group. She's prepared. She's been talking to Proppy for over a year. So, I mean, that's why, like, if, it's just everyone needs to get upskilled, right? We have artificial intelligence, everything is moving to the blockchain. I just posted that Rosie Rios video in our Telegram
Yes.
group, and Rosie Rios, 43rd treasurer of the United States government on the board of directors of Ripple,
Her
right?
name is on our money.
Her name is on the money, right? So, when I think about what she says, follow the money. Artificial intelligence, blockchain, metaverse, right? Those are three really big things. And that blockchain is going to store ownership of our tokenized assets. These real world assets are going to be stored on the blockchain. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. We got to get these videos out. That's why I run the Q&As once a month. I do the best I can to reach out. I know you do the same, but whether you're in real
Yeah.
estate, insurance, the medical industry, you know, marketing, it doesn't matter. Everything is moving to the blockchain, and there is definitely going to be a very strong presence of AI, right? So we're all going to be technologists. I mean, that's just the bottom
Yeah.
line. And they're going to make the technology so easy that we're not going to have to be programmers. So if you're a
Oh, exactly.
programmer, right? If you're a programmer, like, just, there's so many interesting avenues to go down to get retrained, right? To stay relevant. And that's the whole thing. We
Exactly.
want to stay relevant as we transition into the fourth industrial revolution, because this is exactly what's going on, right?
Right. Right. And with the rise of AI, the artificial intelligence software is being embedded everywhere. And all of a sudden, it's just going to pop up on your computer. It's like I opened a PDF file this morning to read a document that somebody had sent me. And AI popped up and said, "Oh, do you want us to do an analysis of that document?" And it's like, no, I don't. I can read it myself, but it's everywhere. And you are going to be pushed and prodded to, pay your, $5 or $10 a month for every software company's bit of artificial intelligence. Microsoft has it. You can, for $30 a month on an annual fee, per Microsoft Office license, you can also get the artificial intelligence embedded into it. And it's embedded into Outlook, Word, Excel, everything. And it's going to rear its head in front of you every time you open a document and say, "Let me analyze this for you.
Right.
You want to know what I think? I'll tell you." And it's going to be like Siri on steroids.
Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
Siri on steroids is coming everywhere. And again, it's like, I know there's so many people that don't want AI like interfering with their current work, but in order to stay relevant, we have to do this, right? We have to learn some of the different platforms that we can use to be more productive, because the
right,
people that use AI will stay relevant. The people who don't will go out of business.
right.
You know, it's the same thing. Like, I saw in Europe with their digital payments, that bill went into effect in the first week of April. And they basically have every company and every bank has 9 months to comply. So we're moving, right? And again, as we move into this digital economy and we talk about automated market makers and this lending and, these lending and borrowing platforms, AI is all embedded in that.
Yeah.
I mean, even trading, it's like we can use bots to trade for us all day long. So, it's very fascinating.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I kind of see it as it can bring us into like an age of like a renaissance, you know, it can really
Right.
enhance our lives. So Fingers
Oh,
crossed, that's where we head
absolutely.
to. Yep.
And there are a lot of pluses on the AI side. I mean,
Yeah.
it really helps with a lot of the day-to-day tasks that people just don't have time for. I know sometimes if I have to script an email to somebody and it can be a little bit of a delicate subject, I might run it through AI and get their take on it to see if they can be or use nicer language than I would use. Because I'm a, tell it like it is kind of person. And sometimes there are situations that require a little bit of finesse. And so sometimes the AI will just help me, gear my head around where I need to be and how I need to approach a subject. So it does have a lot of uses.
There's a lot of uses. Like I've been doing like a deep dive all week on Chainlink, and I'm listening to Sergey Nazarov. He's like the co-founder or founder of Chainlink, and he's so super techy. And I'm taking notes, and like he's explaining how Chainlink's going to be working with the Swift system, and I'm taking notes, taking notes, taking notes. And then I think about I have to present this to a class that doesn't have a technology background, and I'm
Right.
rewriting it, and I'm like, nope, they're not, it's going to be like I'm talking in a Charlie Brown episode where the teacher is like, wah, 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 wah.
Exactly.
So I put it into ChatGPT, like everything that I've researched, and I said, break this down in a way that like a regular non-technical person can understand,
Right.
and like give me like an analogy. And it was just beautiful, like what it came up with, So it is really helpful. And I think it's like a good co-pilot for me to be a better teacher, right? Because when we talk, it's so easy. We understand technology, you know what I mean? But a lot of people just don't understand technology. So yeah, it's definitely a helpful tool for
It
sure.
is. It is.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I'll run stuff through there and I'll say, can you explain this to me from a ninth grade perspective or
Yep.
from a fifth grade perspective? It really helps to understand, the hard subjects when you put it in a really simple language. Even for me, because there's a lot of techie things that go above my head, and I'm in the tech business.
Yeah.
So it helps me understand those concepts without me having to scratch my head and wonder what these companies are talking about.
Definitely. And like, and I have clients that, they'll give me feedback and they'll be like, I was listening to your podcast and I'm taking notes, and most of my notes are words that I never understood before, and I have to look them up. And that's part of it,
Right.
Yep. So, and I
Yeah,
constantly want the feedback so I can figure out a way to break down all this information in an easy to understand way.
exactly.
Yeah. And I think you can see from when I first started to now, like I was so super techie in the beginning. And like everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Right?
And even with what was going on with the Trust Wallet, they got a bug with the iOS. If you have an Apple phone, you got everyone's just get rid of Trust Wallet, download the Edge app. It's been safe, right?
Yeah.
So, this is part of being early. There's hacks, there's bugs, there's all of these issues, and it's like I was trying to explain what was going on with class last night, and I was like, you know what? Just transfer your coins to the Edge app and cancel, just shut down your Trust Wallet, because some of this stuff is so techy, just like Chainlink. Chainlink is such an amazing technology, but to understand it it's difficult. It's really difficult. But,
Yes.
but again, it's like if I think about things as the internet of smart contracts, and how it's a bridge from traditional finance to the new financial world, which is decentralized finance, that makes way more sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's lowest common denominator.
Right.
And if you failed at math, I'm sorry.
I know. I know.
So I think we got a little bit off track. What's next on your list?
Um, well, let's see. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about Flare and share an update. Because especially like doing some research on Chainlink, I started thinking about Flare, and Flare is in their beta test net for their F assets. And all F assets are is bringing smart contracts to non-smart contract platforms to the Flare
Right.
network. So very similar to Chainlink. It's an Oracle bringing smart contracts to their network that can be cross-chain, right? So it's a beautiful thing. But after we go through the test net, then we should be moving XRP. I think that will be first. So we'll see XRP on the Flare network, bringing the smart contract functionality to XRP, but also building that Flare ecosystem. Google is holding a node for the Flare network. I'm seeing this ecosystem get built out, and we'll see. Maybe this is like a diamond in the rough. This is like Microsoft on the pink sheets, right? Because it's trading at about
Right.
3.5 cents. So, every once in a while, we not that we're gambling. I don't look at these as gambling. I look at, we are so researching everything about the project, who the team is, the fundamentals, the tokenomics,
Right.
adoption, all of these things. And to look at the vision of where the world is going, I mean, I just feel like it's a safe bet, right?
Yeah.
Could go to zero. I'm not betting the farm on it, right? But it's worth for me putting some money in. And again, having that Bifrost wallet with our wrapped Flare, right? We send our Flare over, say we buy it on Uphold, send it over to the Bifrost wallet, then we could delegate our tokens and earn rewards and also receive the remaining Flare airdrops, which is really cool.
Yeah.
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 So that's another one I've been dollar cost averaging into. And I know you have the Bifrost wallet as well.
I do. I do. Yeah.
Cool.
I
Cool.
haven't gotten an airdrop, but I think it's because I don't hold enough tokens.
You should get the airdrop. You should get it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you just need one Flare to get that airdrop. The
Oh,
airdrop
okay.
happens every 30 days. So I would scroll down, on your phone and just double check that it should be there.
Okay. Okay. I'll check.
Yeah. Cool. So what's
Yay, we're not
next?
being left out in the cold.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. I know. And it's funny because when the market dipped again, I bought more Flare just because I want a bigger airdrop.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love delegating and staking as many coins as possible, right? You and I both hold Akash, and
Yes.
we stake it through our Kepler wallet.
Mhm.
And, the rewards now are over 17%.
Amazing. Amazing that you can get that high of a percentage just by staking something. That's awesome.
Right? I know. It's like our bank account isn't doing that for us. That's for sure.
No, no.
And we're actually participating in a project that's kind of has that Airbnb concept for GPUs, right? So NVIDIA is
Right.
not the only company where you have to go get your GPUs from and pay a lot of money,
Right.
right? Using a project, using the Akash network, you're paying like 90% less.
Mhm.
And everybody and all these data storages, and even like anyone who has a computer can rent out or lease out your GPUs and get paid in rewards. What a great
Right.
way to make some passive income.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that project. But tell me, what's next on your list?
I've got 4 projects that I'm really concentrating on right now. It's, in my mind, the big 4, and that's Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, and Chainlink. Those are the 4 that I'm right now, and especially going into the next dip, I'm trying to kind of beef those up a little bit. I think in this bull run that we're about to experience, I mean, we're partway through the bull run already,
Right.
but when we experience the huge run up, I'm going to see what all these altcoins do, because I hold beyond those big four, in my mind, I probably hold another 40 different coins in varying, levels of amounts. And I think that this upcoming bull run will show me which one of those I want to hold on to and which one of those I either want to trade or sell. I need to simplify my portfolio, and I'm just waiting for this run up to kind of show me how I need to simplify and what I need to get rid of.
Yeah.
So, but those four are, I consider those long-term holds. I'm trying to just accumulate as many as possible. And, especially I think Bitcoin at this point, because there will come a time when Bitcoin will not really be readily available to buy or sell. It's going to be all gobbled up and people are going to hold them or
Yeah.
use them to buy goods and services. But I don't see that happening for a couple of years, because right now the money that can be made, or the value that can be accumulated by just holding on to the Bitcoin while it goes through this bull run, it makes it way too attractive to sell.
Yeah.
So all of those are long-term holds. And I'm waiting for the day when we get to the point where the crypto market kind of stabilizes
Yeah.
and we can start using all of those coins to purchase our goods.
Correct. And it's really difficult. Like we could use Wisdom Tree Prime right now, and we could use our Bitcoin to buy a cup of coffee. But why would we do that?
Right? That would be
You
foolish.
Right, that would be foolish. So yeah, I'm with you. I look at Bitcoin for me as a savings account. And
Mhm.
once the cryptocurrency market matures, we have regulation. I mean, I can see goods and services in some areas start being repriced in Satoshis, right? Because there's 100 million Satoshis that make
Right.
up one Bitcoin. So it's not going to be, hey, how much Bitcoin do you hold? It's going to be, how many Satoshis do you have?
Mhm.
And what about down the road, maybe by like 2030? How many Bitcoin are we going to have to hold to purchase a house or land?
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's very much a depreciating asset. We need more dollars to buy that land or that house, but we need less and less Bitcoin to purchase that house.
Exactly.
Yep. So, as a store of value, a hedge against inflation. There's so much uncertainty in the world. I'm all about diversifying,
Mhm.
not just Bitcoin. I want my gold, I want my silver, community, all of these things are super important. But yeah, I mean, I just feel so grateful that I was able to accumulate Bitcoin back in 2020, right? Because I
Right.
mean, yeah, it's just, to me, Bitcoin is already at this point where, it's over $60,000, right? So it's like, it's like, do I want to buy more Stellar? And then maybe after this next run, take profits, wait for the market to crash, and then accumulate Bitcoin. Like it
Yeah.
gets to the point where you don't really know when you should stop dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
But if I
Yeah.
held zero Bitcoin, I would be buying a little bit of Bitcoin now because,
Absolutely.
right, there's so much uncertainty in the world. Do I think Bitcoin is going to reach $100,000 someday? The answer is yes.
Oh, and it will be within the next 12 to 18 months. I'm certain of it. And I didn't start buying Bitcoin until about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. And the value of what I purchased a little over a year ago has tripled. Just
Right.
the value alone. So I mean, where else can you go and invest in something that's going to triple in a year?
Exactly. Exactly.
And granted, probably in another 18 to 24 months, it's going to go down, but that's just the normal cycle of the market. And over time, I'm pretty certain that over time, that instead of big cycles like this, we'll have the littler cycles and everything will be
Exactly.
stabilized. So now
Exactly.
really is the time to get into purchasing of the cryptocurrency and increase your value.
Absolutely. It's such a good point that you're making because, you know, when Bitcoin hits 100,000, let's just say that's the peak of the next bull cycle and it crashes, is it going to crash 50, 60%? Or is it going to crash 20, 25%? And then are you going to want to buy Bitcoin at 75,000?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's such, you know, yeah, it's such a good point. I love
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I just feel really fortunate that I started investing 3 years ago in the whole cryptocurrency marketplace, and I've learned so much in the past 3 years. And it's exciting. It's so exciting. You know, it gives me a feeling of control,
Yeah.
just a feeling of control over my financial well-being. And I've never had that before because there was a limit. The dollar limits you where
Yeah.
cryptocurrency doesn't.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, and I don't think that people understand that so many times you have to be an accredited investor to invest in projects like this. You have to
Mhm.
make $250,000 a year, have $1 million in net worth, not including your house, to participate in up and coming projects that are being launched on the New York Stock Exchange or, you know,
Right,
whatever exchange it is. Cryptocurrency democratizes all of this, creates a level playing field where we now have the opportunity to buy a Microsoft on the pink sheets.
right.
Exactly. So, you know, and that's why, you know, we run our Q&As. The next one coming up is a week from Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's $10. I'm encouraging everybody, bring your questions because the more Mary and I are looking at the market, the more we see our financial system is changing and everything is being leveraged by technology and everything is on the blockchain. Sure, there's going to be a lot of projects that go to zero, but there's going to be a lot of projects that are part of the new financial system.
Exactly.
And those are the ones that we want to focus on, not dog with hat. Right?
Exactly. Good point.
All right. So for first time viewers, Mary, just share with us what do you do for a living? You're one of our sponsors for the show. I appreciate you so much. You provide such an awesome service. Just let folks know what you do.
So I own a company. It's a technology company called Computer Diva. I operate out of the Pacific Northwest, but I have clients all around the world. And I fix computers. I have a break fix division where if your computer breaks, I fix it for you. I have a what I call a managed services division where I have a product called Diva Care. It's a small piece of software that runs on your computer, keeps it tuned up, keeps it clean, keeps you anti or virus free. So we provide the antivirus software and monthly reports. And what I've found with my customers on DivaCare, their computers just run smooth. So I'm out here, computerdiva.biz. I'm ready, willing, and eager to help anybody who has a technology issue.
Love it. And I know you've
Thank
gotten
you.
myself and my wife Rowan out of so many jams. I
Yes.
appreciate you. I rely on you so much. And again, it's like working with you. I trust you implicitly. There's so many bad actors in this field, in this industry, right? Whenever there's new technology and new things emerge, right? There's hackers, there's thieves, there's just, I hear stories from clients and they're very disheartening, right? So I mean, I appreciate you and again, like keeping our system super clean from all of these different viruses and problems. It's so worth it. And what that service is like $55 a year, right? It's so worth it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I love
amazing.
it.
It's amazing. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So anything else before we wrap up our show?
I don't think so. I just feel that we are on the brink. We have been patient through the whole bear market. We've been dollar cost averaging, accumulating our projects, and we're now on the brink of something really exciting. We're going to have, a few dips here and there in the next month or so, but the rest of the year and 2025 are going to be amazing. And I'm super excited to see how it all unfolds.
Same here, same here. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Andrea. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Same here. And until next time, Mary, what do we say?
Huddle on.
Huddle on, y'all.